afternoon from Zagville, the beautiful Spokane River, and there is the home of the current number 10 team in the entire country. Gonzaga back in the top 10, 10-3 on the season, and they welcome in Eastern Oregon. And look at Drew Timme. He's done a little work to that stash and that beard. Good look. All right, AP top 10. Gonzaga back in the top 10, 10-3. They certainly have familiarity with quite a few teams on that list, including Alabama and Tennessee and Texas and Purdue. And the Zags, boy, the cream is rising to the top in the AP top 10. Great to see everyone again. Greg Heister, Dan Dickau, Richard Fox. Guys, it's an important game because this is the final warm-up before we head off into the West Coast Conference.
It's always difficult to return after Christmas break, especially after the grueling, challenging non-conference they had. But they have got to be primed for a much improved WCC, and this is a great finish of the non-conference just for that.
Yeah, and you know, Richard, Drew Timme won't be caught off guard. He's been down this road several times.
Yeah, and, you know, you look across the college landscape, I'm not sure there's a guy in college basketball to carry the load offensively that Drew Timme does. In fact, I don't think there's anybody in this program's history that has had to do as much on that end of the floor as Drew Timme. He does it in a variety of ways. The last 5 games averaging a double-double, continues to be efficient around the basket. 67%, is starting to knock down his free throws at a bit of a higher clip, 65%. And it's not just the offense, fellas. He's improved defensively. We've seen a lot of improvement on that end of the floor. No longer really a liability guy you can attack, but a guy who brings some value on that end of the floor.
And Dan, over the first 4 or 5 games of the season, it was Nolan Hickman who was taking a lot of criticism for the Zags start to this year, especially on social media. Things have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, they have changed, and I don't think it's always fair. A lot of times the point guard gets a lot of that criticism because they're the front of the attack on the offensive end. But I can't say that it's been a poor offensive attack in any way, shape, or form. They're the second most efficient offense in the country behind Arizona, and a lot of it is due to growing into a new role. A season ago, under Andrew Nembhard, he was the understudy, learned everything from scoring to setting things up. He's been terrific as of late. He, in the last 98 consecutive minutes, has not committed a single turnover. I tell you what, that's going to really make Coach Few happy, as well as his teammates.
You can make the difference that Nolan is the difference in the Zag attack right now. Okay, what an afternoon it's going to be in Zagville. Gonzaga, Eastern Oregon, the Mountaineers, they love that free ball. Zags are going to have to guard that line. Starting lineup, the tip-off when we come back. Is it number 73 in a row? And welcome back to Spokane, Washington. The beautiful Spokane River there. And we've got a basketball game this afternoon. Greg Heister, Dan Dickau, Richard Fox. What a pleasure it is to be here. Eastern Oregon, as we said, they love that free ball. A.J. Huddleston, Keep an eye on number 32. For the Zags, Strother, Hickman, Bolton, Timmy, Watson. Guys, it's been the starting five for head coach Mark Few all season long for every game. The head coach of Eastern Oregon, they are NAIA. They are called the Mountaineers. It is Chris Kemp in his second year. You can read the numbers 25 and 17 in his young head coaching career. All right, and of course, head coach Mark Few, no stranger to winning. And what I love most is his winning percentage. You literally, every time you suit up to play Gonzaga, you have like a 16% chance of winning. Pretty good odds if you're a Zag fan. Keys to the game brought to you by Northern Quest. Earn your bragging rights at Northern Quest with more slot machines, table games, restaurants, lounges, luxury hotel rooms than anyone else in the region. Northern Quest, yes, the best. More at northernquest.com.
For Gonzaga, they need to refocus. The getaway game before Christmas and the comeback game after Christmas are usually the hardest for a player.
Yeah, and I think, look, this is a team that needs to improve defensively, ranked 56 in efficiency year to date. That's the lowest since 2020. Let's see if this is the start of Gonzaga starting to trend in a different direction there on that end of the floor.
Underway, Gonzaga going for their 73rd consecutive victory at home. They hold the best number since 1985 through Timmy in the books. 2 points, climbing the all-time scoring list.
Well, obviously a huge discrepancy here from a size perspective. Eastern Oregon just does not have the bodies up front to hold Gonzaga off the glass.
Well, you're going to see a lot of spread ball screen, some continuity ball screen action from Eastern Oregon. Going to shoot a lot of threes, almost 10 made threes per game on the season. They shoot over 40% from beyond the arc. So you got to locate shooters, arm off the line.
There's Huddleston over the outstretched hand of Julian Strother, tied at 2. And a whistle, and our first foul of the game will go against the Mountaineers, number 24, Adam Orr, the senior from Cameron Park, California. What do you want to see early, gentlemen?
I just want to see how crisp are they. You talked about it, Dan. This is a tough game coming back from Christmas. It can kind of go one of two ways. Either you've got that Christmas hangover, or do you come back sharp, understanding that this is the last opportunity you have before you start conference play to dial some things in.
This is Orr. Watson hounding him. Free ball falling away is off. Timmy, the rebound. Now the point forward.
His last 5 games have been absolutely spectacular. You touched on it in the open as Watson puts back his initial miss. But Timmy's doing everything. He's guarding, he's active on the glass. If I don't see a double team from Eastern Oregon, we might be looking at a 40-point night from him if he plays long enough.
Well, look, I brought it up at the open. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Has there ever been anybody in this program's history who's been asked to do as much offensively as Drew?
There's a nice finish by Justin Jeske, the 205 redshirt junior from Spokane. Bolton falling away in the lane.
Great push in transition. It was opened up by Watson with the great transition run himself, but Bolton's struggled a little bit as of late. Look for him to get untracked. He's such a huge part of their attack.
Feet inside, nice catch by Chandler. And he is fouled by Gonzaga and Julian Strother. Gentlemen, Gonzaga with the obvious size advantage. So what is the percentage of shot attempts should we see inside versus should we see a three-point shot?
Well, yeah, you're
to keep them honest, I realize, but they have to be attacking more often than not,
I would expect them to early attack inside out, trying to get the ball in the low block to Timmy, push in transition, get into the paint, collapse the defense, and spray it out there for threes.
And Bolton, the explosion to the glass. He'll shoot free throws. Foul number 2 called on Eastern Oregon.
Well, this is
and it's sorry, Richard, it's on number 5, Preston Chandler.
This is the definition of a game you want to play inside out. You know, taking threes is a good outcome if depending on how they come about. I'd expect Gonzaga right there. You've seen Bolton pushing in transition, second time here early in the game, inside with Watson and Timmy. Play through the paint, and that'll open up those three-point shots.
How important is this game on this schedule for rhythm? To get somebody like Roger Bolton in a rhythm, feeling good, going into Saturday's game?
Well, I think it's really important. Touched on it, you know, the fact that a getaway game is difficult, but many times the comeback game is equally as difficult, especially when maybe when you just look at the schedule and see the name Eastern Oregon. You're not preparing your mind maybe to play the way you would if it was against a, quote, name type of program. But Coach Few gets these guys' attention. I'm sure they're going to be ready to go. The WCC play is right around the corner.
There's a great bit of anticipation by Roger Bolton to take that pass away. Timmy down the lane. Oh! And the flush with one hand. And the stash.
Almost an identical play as to what he had against Montana. Not a Euro step, but kind of a pick up over the top of the defense. That's an impressive play by a big man.
But we haven't seen the tickle of the stash lately.
The tickle of the stash.
The tickle is back, Richard.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Well, if anybody needed 4 or 5 days off, it was this guy after
Or
what
me.
he's done. But maybe you could use a couple extra days.
Yeah, I got a lot backed up, trust me. Here's Chandler. Jeske. This is Malachi Appleworth. Drive. Hickman there to help defensively. Got to get rid of it or shoot it. Shot away. Good. Nice finish by the sophomore from Federal Way.
They lack size, but there's a lot of skill on the floor for Eastern Oregon.
High-low. Anton, another bucket. A high-low game over these 20 years. It's been a big part, a cornerstone really of the Zag team. Deep three. Over Hickman. Shot made. Adam Orr.
Orr shoots it at 46%.
Timmy, right to work. And it falls off. That should get frequent flyer mileage going around the rim like that. 15:57 to play. Gonzaga up by 3. Drew Timme will be shooting free throws when we come back. But Orr dialing in from downtown. The Mountaineers, they can shoot the 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Subsided. Today, he is pain-free. After completing Pulse's cardiac rehab program, Lewis continues exercising regularly, fueled by a diet of plenty of fruits and vegetables. Zag fans, stand up for Lewis Cole!
And welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center. Here's today's Arby's fan trivia question. How many times has Gonzaga advanced to at least the Sweet 16? At least, gentlemen, that's a trick question. Don't be fooled, Richard.
Thank you
9,
for
10,
clarifying.
or 12. It's not to the Sweet 16. It's at least.
So you're saying if they went further than the Sweet 16, I can count it? Okay.
Yes, you can count it if they go. Of course, they can't get to the 8 or to the 4 without getting to the 16.
I appreciate the clarity. Thank you.
So I'm not sure the number would be different. That's what I'm saying. You're kind of a banker guy. You should know. You're into numbers.
How does commercial real estate
Well,
equal banking?
Well, I used to
There's
do
a
that.
lot of numbers in that.
Yeah, it was like 7 years ago.
There's a lot
I was
of
in
zeros.
banking. Greg obviously pays attention to what's happening in my life.
Drew Timme now in front of the great Matt Santangelo.
Probably get Pangos tonight.
Good chance at Mr. Kevin. He begins 1 of 2 from the line.
Kevin Pangos has a connection to this program. His brother-in-law, Paul Pennington, played in this game last year and dislocated his elbow. You remember Eastern Oregon played this building. Their starting point guard, their all-time leading scorer in school history, and Pennington, their backup point guard, both got hurt.
Yeah, I think there were 3 guys that got banged up in that game. Foul inside. Hunter Salas on the floor for GU. And he was a little late getting there. Number 1 on him, number 2 on the Zags. And Julian Strother pokes that out of play as they try to get the ball to Preston Chandler. This is A.J. Huddleston, number 32, directing traffic. Timmy a long way from the bucket. Jeske with the drive, trying to take him. Spins, jump hook, falls off. Strother clears it. Anton, Timmy wanting the ball, the catch, the finish. That's easy O.
It's just textbook transition, high-low action. Timmy knew he was going to get fronted, stopped his rim run early, kept the seal up high, and then the delivery from Watson. Beautiful basketball.
Solomon McGinnis, number 11 on the floor. Loose ball picked up by Strother. Here's Salas going right to the rim. Missed the shot. Mountaineers basketball. This is McGinnis. And again, Watson takes it away. Drew Timmy, run out. And the flush.
Huddleston wanted no part of challenging that dunk or being on a poster. And then he finishes it with your favorite, Greg, the little
Tickle.
mustache fix.
Mustache tickle.
I've never heard it described that way. I like
Neither
that.
have I.
Yeah, Bolton. Here's a chance. Rozier. Oh! He can fly too! Zags off to a 19-9 start. And I think this is the start that Coach Few was hoping for, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, they've been dialed in, crisp on both ends of the floor, good energy. You know, it's good to see a guy like Bolton get going as well. I mean, Rasheer, the last 6 games is averaging 7 points a game, shooting under 28% from 3. We obviously know he's more talented than that. It's a nice start for him. And to your point earlier, Greg, you know, these games sometimes are just that final tune-up tweak before you get into league play. Mark Few always talks about there's stages in the season. You've got non-conference, conference, and then obviously the postseason play. It'd be good to see a guy like Rozier get going again here as we get into the conference.
And I think you're going to see Gonzaga change things up a little bit, in particular on the defensive end of the floor, to work on a few things to get ready for league. You've seen a couple possessions of three-quarter court pressure. You might see a little bit of zone. That's one of the things I think Gonzaga has done a really good job in recent years, is keeping the opponents on their toes with what they're going to have to attack defensively.
Zags on a 7-0 run in the last 138, trying to take it away again. Corner 3 on the way. Emmett Taylor missed it. Ben Gregg on the floor, runs down the loose rebound. And here's Rozier Bolton. Stops. 3. A little off. And again, Ben Gregg. Boy, did he get under there, but there's the offensive foul. And Ben looks at the official and says, that's a flop. But it's a foul on Ben. I've never seen them change their mind.
You're never going to talk an official out. I mean, it's usually not the first bump as a big that you get that charge call. It's that second one. You hit the first contact and then spin off.
Well, you see it all the time. You don't see this from Drew. He gets that first bump. That second bump, you're getting maybe 2 or 3 inches of room. You've got the position you need. You just need to get into your move.
Malachi Smith. He'll try to throw it down, but lost it on the way up. He was stripped. A.J. Huddleston with the bounce. Jeske into the lane, and the finger roll drops, 19-11.
Jeske wants to play well here. He is from just down the road, played at Liberty High School in the Spokane Valley.
And the personal foul there on Jeske, a little too physical with Anton Watson. And Anton, a bit of a limp there. Bolton out of the game, Nolan Hickman back on the floor. Malachi, great spin.
Great catch. What traffic.
Body control there.
You know, that's one thing that Gonzaga is so good at that is often overlooked, is their execution baseline out of bounds. Malachi Smith, a great job reading that for the curl, but they ran that play a ton for Corey Kispert when he was here, and he would get open 3 after open 3 on baseline out of bounds.
Corner three. That's short by Emmett Taylor. Malachi. The drive, left-hand drops. First time in my career there have been two Malachis on the floor at the same time.
You gonna be okay?
Yes, Avawork for Eastern Oregon and Smith for Gonzaga. How about that, gentlemen? We look for the unique in this game. Turnover, Gonzaga basketball. Slade Dill from Dietrich, Idaho. Couldn't quite get to that loose ball. There's Affelwerk checking back in. .12 Gonzaga lead. They've hit 10 of their first 15 shots. Eastern Oregon 5 of 11. Contact, bodies fly. And the foul called. And this will be on number 10, Malachi Affelwerk. That's 5 on the Mountaineers. Students aren't here, if you're wondering, where all that natural sound of the McCarthy Athletic Center is today.
Kind of a weird game all the way around. 2 o'clock on a Wednesday, no students.
Ben Gregg ripped it away. Hunter Salas from downtown.
That looked as smooth of a jump shot as I've seen from him yet. We've talked about it throughout broadcasts earlier this year. His jump shot's a work in progress, but it's getting better. He changed some of the mechanics. It's now looking more smooth, more rhythmic. That looked great.
His development has been obvious this season on both ends.
Defensively, he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the country.
Nice finish by Slade Dill. Great run out. Oh! Are you kidding? How did he get that down? Hunter Salas.
How about the delivery?
Yes.
The delivery from Malachi Smith and the finish. Wow.
Oh, the angle that Hunter had to get that ball up and get it. He was under the rim. Still got it down.
That was quick.
Go ahead, Dan, say it. That was next level.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about that. That's the type of finish at the next level where you just have to have that pop to you, taking off and then finishing it over the top. But we're going to be lucky enough, as are the viewers, to get another look. The delivery, the catch, the finish. Gonzaga looking like they are back.
And you're back at the McCarthy Athletic Center. Time for our Arby's fan trivia question answer. How many times has Gonzaga advanced to at least the Sweet 16? 12 is the answer.
Now, again, you're saying if they go to the Elite Eight, it counts.
It does.
Okay. Making sure.
And the Final Four.
Okay.
It counts.
What about the championship game?
It counts.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
How many of those with Mark Few as the head coach?
All but one.
Yeah, you didn't even need to let that marinate. That was really good there.
Are you the one that comes up with these RB trivia questions?
No.
That'd be scary.
That
Can you
would be
imagine?
scary.
I mean,
it'd rarely be about Gonzaga beating the Steelers,
yeah.
some general hockey thing, or the Iditarod. I don't know. What fly is the best in this situation?
If a fish leaves air bubbles when it eats something, eats a mayfly, is it eating on top of the surface or just underneath?
I'm gonna say
well, you go underneath the ball screen, you're going to step back for three. Nolan Hickman knocks it down. You're a wealth of knowledge, Greg.
My opinion may not be my beliefs.
What? You're back to that comment?
Half a work. Hickman got in front of him. Step through. Off the glass. Nice finish by Hampton Reed. High-low. Ben Gregg the catch. Skip to the corner. Back to Nolan. Three on the way is off. Long rebound in the corner. Emmett Taylor.
Missed it, but that's a nice extra pass from Salas out of that corner.
Salas was waiting in that passing lane. He was about to pounce on an errant pass there.
There's a three from the top. That rattles in from Preston Chandler, junior from Kuna, Idaho. And a whistle and a foul called, I believe, on Hampton Reed. That's crafty.
That is a move he's going to have in his arsenal for the next 20 years. That's something you'd see in the men's league. That was good.
Strother, corner three is short. Kept alive and grabbed. The Mountaineers with the basketball. First 10 minutes in the books. Bounce pass doesn't get inside. Strother sliding across the floor. And a foul called on number 10, Malachi Appleworth. And that's number 2, I believe, on him.
Gonzaga already in the bonus. 9.5 minutes left. It's going to be a long first half of making trips to that free throw line.
In and out. Julian still waiting for his first point. Appleworth. Chandler always looking to shoot the ball. Good defense there by Ben Gregg to force it out of the hands of McGinnis. Spinning, shot off the glass. Nice finish, Preston Chandler. Lob, Efton Reed can't get to it. Hickman missed him there.
That's one of his rare mistakes over the last 3-4 games. Coming into this game, 98 consecutive minutes without a turnover. But that's part of the growing and maturation of a young.
That's a pretty good athlete. Here's Hickman. That makes up for it. Left-hand finger roll.
It's a good way to take care of the mistake on the next possession, come up with the steal.
That's a great response. You're right, Richard, because too many times you'll see a young player make a mistake, a turnover, miss a shot badly. They won't get back in defense, and they'll linger on it. Move on to the next play.
Emmett Taylor, step back three. Nothing but nylon.
He's a good player. Transferred from Idaho State in the Big Sky.
Efton Reed trying to create space. Got to go up. Offensive foul. Put his head down and buried that shoulder.
3 Eastern Oregon Mountaineers were swarming all over him.
Mountaineers on a 7-0 run. They've hit their last, well, they say their last 4, so it's actually a 10-2 run right now. Thank you, Brock Salzman. Back for his 47th year. Hey, Drew Timme, look at that anticipation. And he's stripped from behind by Emmett Taylor. Zags with 5 turnovers in this game. The Mountaineers with 10. Hickman, 3-ball.
That's the second 3 that he's read the defense properly. Obviously, Eastern Oregon's scouting report, go under ball screens, in particular on Hickman. stop, read it, let it fly.
Well, you know that's an automatic read for you as a guard. And, you know, Nolan's improved this year, 34% from three. But with his mechanics and what we've seen from him, you think that percentage should be closer to 40%. He's just too good a shooter.
Confident shot. So was that one, but off by Taylor. Bolton runs it down. Now he needs help. Efton Reed back to help. Timmy wanting the ball. He's got it.
Great dive there from Efton Reed. That's exactly what you want to do when that double occurs on Reed. Timmy, the skip to Strother.
That forces Taylor just to help enough on the roll and leaves Strother open for the three. The nice read from Drew as well. Cross court there.
First field goal for Strother. And the first personal foul there on Nolan Hickman. But Nolan playing some defense in this game. Watch him strip it, run, and lay it in. 39-23, Zags up. And welcome back. 7:07 to play in this first half between number 10 Gonzaga and the Mountaineers of Eastern Oregon. Greg Heister, Dan Dickow, Richard Fox. We are courtside. Gonzaga coverage of the game brought to you by Primera. Primera, proud partner of the Zags.
Well, coaches are blessed when they have one big who can make a high-low pass. Gonzaga's got a number of them. This pair has been as good as any duo I can remember. Timmy to Watson. Watson returned the favor. That's good, sound, fundamental basketball. Jerry Krause would be proud of that.
Think about how many games Drew and Anton have played together.
Yeah.
You know, just you get that feel after a while, and we're coming up on 100 games these guys have played together.
Seven minutes to play in this first half. It's good we get Jerry Krause's name in this broadcast. Always thinking about the coach. Brand new Hall of Famer.
One of the best.
Yeah, one of the best guys.
Pioneers of analytics. We would get game grades on everything. Our shot percentages from 2s and 3s combined. Our rebound rate.
I got a lot of no grades.
Because of DNPs or because of a lack of effort?
Because I played, but I just didn't do anything, and so you couldn't have. There wasn't enough to grade. We had lots of talks about that.
I hated the one where it would be a rebound grade. Coach Few would want me to get 4 rebounds a game.
It sounds like that should be the case.
Dan, it's okay. None of us thought that was ever going to happen.
Thank you.
If you just follow your own shot, you ought to be able to get 4, Dan.
Well, no, I thought my shot was always going in, so I just ran back on defense.
That was your first mistake.
That might be the worst coaching tip for any youth coach out there.
What?
Uh-oh.
Telling kids to follow their own shot.
Oh.
Whoa.
That is not good sound coaching.
No,
stay in your shot.
First of all,
hold the follow
wait a minute.
through.
Let's stay in the lane here. I'm not a coach. All I said is maybe you would have gotten 4 had you done that. That's all I said. I didn't say that the youngsters out there should be following Dan Dickow.
Yeah, I don't.
Never follow your own shot as a jump shooter.
No 10 ever. There's no scenario.
There's no scenario ever.
Well, there's.
What if you,
I mean, there's
what
a
if you know,
small gray
it's
area.
off?
What if you know it's off?
Well, then that is the rare exception to the rule.
Well, you're going to miss it more than you make it.
Yeah, you miss more than 4 shots in a game. There's the high-low again. I think I ended up to be right in that argument.
Yeah, this is great. What's another tidbit?
Happy holidays,
I'm coaching my kids now. I need help. Trust
Yes.
All the parents who might be watching are like, God, that guy needs to figure it out. What other tips do you have for me?
Go to Shoot 360 in Spokane. We'll get you right.
Wow. Wow. Zags on an 8-0 run, looking for more. But great play there by Huddleston to get back defensively and take it. Zags had hit their last 4 shots and opened up a 41-23 lead before our recent diversion from the ball game. Apple work the drive, tip back, Watson. Anton with his 5th rebound. Hickman.
That's the next area of growth, I think, for Strother's game. He's got to come off that pick and roll being a threat. He picked it up at the point of the screen. He couldn't take advantage of a mistake the defense makes.
And Roger Bolton, the explosion to the glass. He's got a chance for 3. Bolton nearing double digits in this first half. How many rebounds did you average? Like point something?
A couple more than that. Come on, Greg. I mean,
Couple
I
more
did play
points?
36 minutes a game, so even a blind squirrel finds a nut occasionally.
Well, I don't know if that's true. I think we need to do some analytics on that statement. I'm not sure a blind squirrel ever finds the nut, to be honest. Left hand inside, falls off. Good defense, Anton Watson. Malachi Smith with the basketball. Spins, kick to Bolton. Anton, he'll fire the 3. Bingo!
Richard Fox to my left was imploring Anton to shoot it. He was open, wide open, knocks it down.
We've been doing this a long time, Dan. I'm sure that's what my body language is indicating. But good shot there for Eastern Oregon to continue to play.
Nice catch, Anton. A lot of nonverbal communication going on at this desk right now.
Which is not all that helpful for the folks at home. I get that.
There's Malachi, bounce through Timmy. A lot of contact, no whistle, and the finish. Drew wanted a foul.
Just love how Smith is always playing at his own speed, does not get sped up at all. He's just so solid with the basketball.
Guys, Drew has 13 points, 6 of 6 from the floor, 3 assists. Looking like Jokic. That falls off the rim. Nice try by Justin Jeske. Malachi Smith. Wow. Other end. The right-handed finish on the left side of the rim. Coach that, Dan Dicko.
What a luxury.
Inside hand finish.
What a luxury, though. Smith and Salas coming off your bench. Both do, you know, they do different things, but what they do is they make winning plays. And it's just such a luxury to have that kind of depth.
And they're getting comfortable, Richard.
Well, they both have accepted their role as well. They are willing to understand. Salas comes in, defends, tries to get out in transition, takes open shots. And I think what we're seeing from Smith, unfortunately, there's a turnover forcing issue there, though, is he is starting to get comfortable searching his own shots in transition and probing off the bounce.
Drew Timmy wanted the foul. Malachi to the rim. Love the English. Zags up 51-25. All right, today's Smiles of the Game brought to you by Delta Dental. We're on a mission to help make Washington State 100% cavity-free. To learn more, visit cavityfreewa.com. Brought to you by Delta Dental of Washington. Proud supporters of Healthy Smiles and your Gonzaga Bulldogs. And according to Twitter, Dan Dickau averaged 2.4 rebounds a game. Well shy of what Coach Few wanted him to get a game.
Yeah, well, every time, we obviously talk to Coach Few quite frequently, and it's remarkable how often he brings that up. Just the disappointment he felt that year. It's just that Dan would have probably just had him.
What was it, Dan?
Would have helped.
What was holding you back?
Games.
What was holding you back?
We had great rebounders.
Oh, is that what it was?
Casey Calvary,
there weren't enough to go
Corey
around.
Violet, Ronnie Turioff, Zach Gord.
That's true. That's a decent front line.
Yeah.
There's
know your
McGinnis.
strengths, know your weaknesses.
I don't know. Joel Ayayi, Julian Strother, they seem to get him at a high rate. Bounce, skip, three on the way. Good offense. Solomon McGinnis.
Just about everybody for this Eastern Oregon group is comfortable shooting the ball from behind the arc.
Ben Gregg to catch.
Pass on the money and a great catch and finish. He's shown quite a bit of improvement the last month or so as far as getting comfortable. You knew he was skilled coming in, but he's looking more comfortable with.
I just said the game slowed down.
Yes. And you know he wants to play well today. He's got family ties to Eastern Oregon. His older brother, Jordan, actually was an All-American in Eastern Oregon, helped them to 2 deep runs in the NAIA National Tournament in 09 and 10. How's that for research, Greg?
Going deep.
I'm sorry, I've fallen asleep there for a second. Zag, 16 of their last 18 field goals inside the arc. Make it 17 of 19.
Back-to-back great decisions in pinpoint passing from Salas.
His 3rd assist tonight.
Drew Timme with 13. Bolton has 9. Anton Watson now with 9. Hickman with 8. And a foul called on Hunter Salas. Great article in the Spokesman about Hunter over the Christmas break. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I did.
Wrote by Theo Lawson, who, by the way, tip of the cap to him from driving from San Francisco to get here for this game. Of course, his flight got canceled like most of America's. Hickman. Nolan will shoot free throws. Foul on Emmett Taylor. Dan, Nolan Hickman, obviously we've seen the progression this year. We've seen him blossom into the player. I think that Coach Few and his staff thought he would be. Where do you want to see him get better? What's he got to work on to become
Well, I think
all-world?
I still think there is a level of consistency with his jump shot because I think his mechanics are solid. So I think that will continue to climb percentage-wise. You know, I think he's got a good handle. It's got to get a little bit tighter where he can create some things for himself, break the defense down, and not always needing, not that he has to have a pick and roll, but using pick and rolls. But he sees the floor well. He can make passes, the right passes, whether it's a pocket pass, a skip pass, an entry pass. I think he's having a nice sophomore season up till now.
McGinnis. 3 on the shot clock. Watson. The run out. Oh, and the hammer. Anton Watson. He's got 11. I tell you what, when you see the bigs out there deflecting the ball at the top of the key, that's spectacular to me. It's so good, Richard.
Makes me nervous every time. I can't imagine doing that.
Because you'll turn an ankle, you mean, or something?
Certainly an injury, definitely a turnover. I don't know, both probably.
There's a good bounce. Shot is short from McGinnis. Zags with 9 steals in this game. Ben Gregg. High-low, too far. Missed Anton Watson. Kind of rushed that, didn't he?
Well, it looked like it was thrown to the wrong side of the backboard, the rim. So usually on a high-low, you want to throw it to a corner, have the big release, and go get it.
And there's the end of our first half. Shot did not get off in time. Zags up by 30, guys. They shot 24 of 32, 75%. Eastern Oregon at 41.4%. Zags turned it over 8 times to 13 for the Mountaineers. Just 8 shot attempts from behind that three-point line. Zags hit 5. Nice first half.
75% from the field. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Hunter Salas certainly with the highlight of that first half. Zags up by 30. Final warm-up before they head for the West Coast Conference schedule. Halftime straight ahead. And it's still wintertime in the Inland Northwest. Number 10 Gonzaga, though, up by 30 at the half against Eastern Oregon, the Mountaineers. Greg Heister, Dan Dickau, Richard Fox. Okay, gentlemen, we highlighted Nolan Hickman and his evolution in our opening remarks before this game, and the evolution continues, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's had a really nice start to this game in the first half, 9 points. He did commit 1 turnover after coming into this game with 98 consecutive minutes without a turnover committed. But I think what you're seeing is the instinct is starting to be paired with the recognition and the reads that is being taught to him. You see the diamond transition up ahead, read the defense underneath, step back behind, the instincts of going for the steal, getting yourself an easy one. Then, and again, defense makes a mistake, you make them pay.
And Richard, the high-low game. So Dan gets to talk about the guard. Richard wishes he could talk about the guards. We won't let him.
It's not like I'm not qualified.
Well,
okay, you know.
the bigs, great high-low actions in that.
And we saw a lot of that. Look, this is what you expected with an undersized Eastern Oregon team. Gonzaga 38 points in the paint. A lot of that coming from that high-low action. You know, you've got guys like Timmy and Watson, and Greg's got that skill level as well. We saw a lot of that. That's been a staple. You talked about it during the first half of this program for a long, long time. You expect to see that tonight. We have.
Yeah, and Certainly, I think Coach Few getting out of that first half, what he had hoped, right? Up by 30. Maybe you get some of the bench in that second half and you roll into West Coast Conference play.
Well, I think you're always concerned on a comeback after Christmas break game. There's going to be a little bit of a lull and some lackadaisical effort. That wasn't the case. 75% from the field. They did a good job, I think, defensively after the first 4 minutes where Eastern Oregon made some shots, making life difficult.
That was Dan's nice way of saying, you know, too much turkey and ham for Christmas. Zags up by 30 at the half on Eastern Oregon. Back in a moment. The Gonzaga halftime report is brought to you by Coeur d'Alene Casino. Join us at the Gonzaga halftime report is brought to you by Coeur d'Alene Casino. Join us at Coeur d'Alene Casino for a mouth-watering steak dinner, pampering spa treatment, or the hottest games around. Coeur d'Alene Casino, a proud sponsor of Gonzaga Athletics. Coeur d'Alene Casino, welcome home. And welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center. Greg Heister, Dan Dickow, Richard Fox. We continue to be courtside here. All right, Gonzaga kind of ramped up the defense in that first half, guys. They created 9 steals, which, you know what that turns into? Points.
Well, they were active defensively on the ball. They were opportunistic in passing lanes, which led to them getting a lot of easy opportunity efforts in transition at the rim.
Yeah, he turned over Eastern Oregon 13 times. 9 of those come off of steals. That's going to open up.
And welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center. There's the great Killian Tilly taking photos with fans. What a skilled big he was. Yeah, career shortened by injuries, certainly, but one of the most skilled players ever at any position to play in a Gonzaga uniform. There's Drew Timme.
He's another guy who's pretty skilled.
Oh, my God, right?
Well, look, we're running out of things to say about Drew other than he's just exceptional. And tonight, it's been the same. Just very efficient, 6 of 6 from the field, 2 assists, a steal, and just efficient. Offensive rebound, 3 total rebounds, just not a foul. It's the ultimate luxury in college basketball to have a guy. We talk a lot about that at the next level. Having a guy you can run your offense through, you just don't see that as much in college, and Gonzaga certainly has one of those guys.
Just one of those guys that makes the game look so easy. You watch Drew Timme, you're like, well, why can't everybody do that? Timme with 13, Watson with 11, Preston Chandler led the Mountaineers in that first half. Second half, straight ahead. And welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center as we get ready for the start of the second half. Greg Heister, Dan Dickau, Richard Fox. 2023 now directly in front of us, gentlemen. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm good to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's one more game before the end of the year, buddy.
Yeah, but we've got some time right now, I think. I was just bringing it up. Shot short there by Huddleston. Dan is speechless. That one just, I think, confused him.
I don't know what you're talking about. Another high-low.
Yeah, Anton Watson. Watson with 13 now.
Good D, good hands.
Zag ball.
Anton Watson.
Zags didn't miss many in that first half. 25 of 33. 75% from the floor.
Well, they assisted on half their shots there in the first half. That's usually.
Zags now with 20 points off turnovers.
Well, they're getting. I'm sure they're going to, take the easy opportunities that come their way, but they're also going to, look to get into that second, third, fourth option. That time was a set they've run a number of times in previous games. Back screen to a down screen, and then it gives you option for a high-low or an attack from the top. Strother takes advantage of the attack from the top.
Jeske, left hand won't go. Stroth with a rebound. But fell down with possession, hitting that end line, so it goes back to the Mountaineers. (62-28). Zags will next play Pepperdine on New Year's Eve. The Pepperdine Wave.
Talented team. They've struggled in the win-loss column, but Maxwell Lewis might be the best NBA prospect in the WCC right now.
Another takeaway.
Wing, he keeps improving. Devon Porter, a freshman who's younger brother of Michael Porter Jr. with the Denver Nuggets. Talented newcomer.
Bolton left all alone, missed the three. Timmy the rebound. Put back and a chance for three. Drew Timmy with 15. Who matches up best this year against this Gonzaga team, Dan? You seem to be very high again on the West Coast Conference. And
I think it's a very underrated national league. It is a league that has continued to get better over time. I think St. Mary's still angles on pick and rolls. Their defense is one of the most underrated aspects of that program. USF, with our good buddy Kyle Bankhead as an assistant coach, they're primed to have another good season as Hickman gets a layup. But San Francisco, they just beat number 25 ranked Arizona State by about 40 the other day.
Yeah, but the Sun Devils were wounded in that game. They didn't have everybody.
Still, to beat a team by 40 is to beat a team by 40. Talking about a good Arizona State team.
Sure. There's a tie-up. Possession arrow gives it back to GU.
Well, I think what you see in the league every year is just there's a lot of familiarity, right? And that can, to some degree, kind of even things out, where you've got guys who played against Gonzaga multiple years, staffs that understand Gonzaga, what they're trying to do, and maybe a bit better than a non-conference opponent, and that always makes it interesting.
Drew Timmy's first miss of the game. He hit his first 7, now 7 of 8.
I'm gonna take him out. He's struggling.
He's got to work on that.
Slowing down.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how long he plays here in the second half.
Nice back cut, foul on Rasir Bolton. And this will put A.J. Huddleston at the free throw line. I think, too, there's this perception, even though Gonzaga's climbed their way back to the top 10, that there's some vulnerability with this team. And I'm sure there's teams in the West Coast Conference looking at that thinking,
sure, we
might have a chance in our own building this year to get the great Zags.
Yeah, and they're always going to be ready to play Gonzaga. It's a storm the court type of atmosphere anytime Gonzaga goes on the road. But I think one of the things, and we've talked about it on the broadcasts we have had this year, is the last couple of years we kind of knew what Gonzaga's product was at the start of the year. This year, there's been more growth through the early stages of the career. Heck of a finish.
The change of pace, though, on that play by Hickman was beautiful to watch. Nolan now with 13. He's tied with Watson for 13. Timmy leading Gonzaga with 16. There's a catch and shoot. Shot is short by Adam Orr. And Nolan, his first rebound of the game. Bolton's three.
Good to see Bolton get going now with 12. 1 of 3 from the three-point line. He's just he always plays the right way, but has struggled with his shot the last 6 games. A game like this can get a guy going for the rest of the year.
Strother. Defense comes, and the charge. .53 to play. Rasir Bolton, boy, that shot from downtown is so soft. Zags up big. $15:53 to play, 72-30 our score. Upcoming schedule for Gonzaga, 2 o'clock on New Year's Eve. It all begins against Pepperdine, then the 5th on the road at USF, at Santa Clara, at BYU, before coming home to play Portland. Where's the biggest hurdle there, Dan?
Santa Clara. I think that road game has been difficult before. Maybe not the last couple of years. I think last year, if I remember correctly, was that monstrous run that Chet Holmgren fueled. But they're good. They've got a wing, 6'5", Brandon Podziemski, who came in from Illinois, who a couple WCC Player of the Weeks, I believe, already. Very good scorer at that wing position.
You saw Maxwell Lewis for Pepperdine. He's trouble. He comes in on Saturday. Zag's defense will be tested. Bolton. Free throws coming for Rajier. He's 3 for 3 in the game. Ben Drake back on the floor for the Zags. Players of the week, Maxwell Lewis, Javon Porter. And this is what led Dan to his opinion.
Oh my gosh. I watched the games, Greg.
I was there in that meeting when Chauncey was
didn't even
Chauncey
know we
Jones
had this
said,
graphic.
"By the way, we had this graphic," and Dan
Remember it, but sorry.
Houston Millette's a good player. Mike Mitchell Jr. for
Nice
Pepperdine.
find. And the finish by Riley O'Hara, a redshirt freshman from Boise, Idaho. No, I respect your opinion, obviously, Dan. Hunter Salas. The game will have a different feel on Saturday, is what you're saying.
100%.
Of course, you won't be here, will you?
No, I'll be calling a game for CBS Sports in
Minor
Logan,
leagues.
Utah that day.
just us, Greg?
Yeah, just you and I, Rich.
Are you guys doing the Santa Clara game?
I'll be down there with you guys.
Yeah, I'll be down there.
Okay.
Yeah. Think about how much airtime you're going to have on
I
Saturday.
can't wait. I'm just literally going to talk the whole time.
Yeah, we got to send Dan back down to the minors. We got to send him down on assignment like they do in the major leagues. He needs a little work on the curveball.
I'm gonna be in arbitration at the end of this year.
Rajier Bolton, short. Timmy, the rebound. It won't fall, and there's the tip.
You get 2 or 3 offensive rebounds there.
Adding his stats. He's trying to get to another double-double.
And Hunter with the bump. Drew Timmy out, Rajier Bolton out. Efton Reed, Malachi Smith in.
I'll be interested to see if we see Drew again tonight.
If we don't, he finishes 8 of 10, 7 rebounds, 18 points, 3 assists. College Player of the Year in my book.
Well, you'd hope at minimum he'll be a first-team All-American. Last couple of years, second team.
And Hunter called for the slap. A reach around like that, and a slap down going to get called. And That is number 5 on Hunter. So Hunter out of the game with 5 points, 3 assists.
About 12, 13 minutes of action.
They just announced 5, but the official stat machine here says 4. This is a good-looking shot, Malachi Appleworth. Ben Gregg. He traveled. He'll work those out. Established great position. What game you got on Saturday, Dan?
Fresno State at Utah State.
All right, and what time so we can all be tuning in?
Not quite sure. Double check my itinerary. I do know I'm back in time for the New Year's Eve.
That's a question
ball
for
to drop.
That's a question for his assistant, Greg.
It's a big game, huh? Dom Harris, no look feed. Hefton Reed, hello, Dom Harris.
Good pass, good catch.
It's a great catch for Reed. That's always difficult for a big guy.
That's why that play in that first half, he could have caught that and threw it down. Hefton's my guy. Strother tipped it out of play.
He's got a little hockey in him.
He's got a lot of hockey. There's Dom Harris.
He's been a true team guy so far this year. Really hasn't had the opportunities maybe that he was hoping for or some fans have hoped for, but you know, he's battled injuries the past 2 seasons. You know, he gets a chance to get, looks like, extended minutes. Hopefully he plays well tonight.
Strother takes it away from McGinnis. Went for the hammer. Ends up laying it in. But look, Gonzaga just hasn't played enough games where they've gotten into these situations where you can get the end of the bench in the game and get them comfortable. Dom is going to be a player.
Oh, I think he's talented enough. You know, I mean, he shoots it well. Strother gets another one.
And he is grabbed by Solomon McGinnis. That shot won't go, but fun to watch. Or won't count, I should say.
Well, it didn't go in.
We might review this to see if this is intentional.
It was short of the rim. Yeah.
I heard a swish. Come on, Dan. There's nothing wrong with wishful thinking.
Is that your New Year's resolutions? Wishful thinking?
And they've called the flagrant here on the hold. And McGinnis.
It's a little salty, I have to admit.
Well,
a little salty today.
We've been teasing him a lot.
It's been a long year, I think, for Dan.
We're just getting started.
I haven't been teasing you, have I?
No.
Here's what Dan just saw.
Point guard eyes. There you go.
That looked like went in.
It did not.
I think it went in.
Do we have the
from every angle?
Every
angle looked like it went in.
Like it went
if
in.
we see the sideline angle, I guarantee you.
It certainly sounded like it went in too. I could hear every shot in here.
Bet that.
The crowd
was excited. I don't know, Dan. Dan, it's okay to be wrong.
Ben Gregg. That one went in. That one went in.
When it goes through it from above, yes, that went in.
15 steals now for Gonzaga. That ties the season high. It's okay, Dan. We all see things at times. O'Hara.
Nice double from Strother.
Hefton Reed there to keep that ball from getting to the rim by Huddleston. Dom to Smith. Dom Harris with a couple of assists here. Making the most of his minutes. That shot way off. Harris the rebound. Julian Strother. And a foul call. 11:19 to play. Dom Harris. Another great dish. Zags up 88-34.
It's up. And a shot to the right. Contestant number 2. Let's hear it for Anna. All right, Anna, here we go. It's up. 9 point there. And our final contestant, everybody make some noise. Get really, really loud for Jackson. Here it goes. It's up. It's up. Thanks to all of our contestants for participating today. Our sister Elizabeth winner, the jackpot now climbs to $1,200 on our next game, courtesy of your local Toyota dealers. Toyota and Gonzaga.
And welcome back. 11-19 to play between number 10 Gonzaga and Eastern Oregon. Zags up 88-34. They've hit 12 of 16 this half. Zags out and running. Dom Harris, this is your multi-care play of the game. Whether you're at home or in the kennel, multi-care's team of doctors, nurses, and specialists partner with you all season long. Mark Few has talked this season that when you get in there, you got to take advantage of your minutes. We saw Ben Gregg do that early, and it's resulted in more minutes. We see Dom Harris get in, make a couple of nice assists. Efton Reed taking advantage of his minutes. Richard, it's key for a young guy trying to make his impact.
Yeah, there's only so, I mean, you can certainly make a lot of progress in building that trust with the staff and what you're doing in practice, but until you can show in a game that, you know, it kind of, at first it starts as don't hurt us, then do your job, and then can you bring value? Can you make plays that are going to contribute to winning the game? And I think for both Reed and Harris, they've got that ability. I mean, the talent's not the question. I think for Reed, it's a bit of a fit. And it's, you know, him learning how to play within this system, which is distinctly different than playing at LSU. And then for Harris, it's just been a lot of bad luck with his injuries. And obviously, they just have so much depth on the perimeter that it's hard to find a guy like that in minutes. But you know, I'm a big believer in Harris. I think over the long term, he's going to be a really good player.
He's got to stay the course.
And that's hard
Trust
for a
the
kid.
process.
It's hard for a kid
these
to do
days.
That.
Right, like talk about that. Let's be honest, transparent. It's even more difficult today.
Yeah, you've got so many people, you know, whether you know them or not, you're just hearing it all the time. You know, you should be playing, you know, you're getting a raw deal, whatever the case might be. But, you know,
Efton Reed, what a catch. The finish.
Great pass from Greg. But to finish the thought, just stay the course to your point. Keep doing the right things. It's all going to come together for you.
Well, you also, years ago, when both of us transferred, you had to sit out a redshirt year. You don't have to do that now with the NCAA rules. You can transfer and be eligible right away. So it allows guys the ability to transfer and kind of have that thought of instant gratification with playing time somewhere else. Grass isn't always greener on the other side. Sometimes you got to water it where you're at.
There's Hunter. Dom Harris, look out. The lane and a tough ball for Dom. But he's up and appears to be all right. But you saw his ability to elevate there. That shot is off. Rebounded Malachi Smith. Outlet far side Hunter. Hunter into the lane. Off the glass. Left it short. Rebound to O'Hara. But guys, Ben Gregg, Efton Reed, we're seeing the post players of the future for Gonzaga.
Very well could be, you know, the tandem next season.
Yes,
I was just thinking the same thing.
Give it up, give it up.
There's a bump by Dom. Collision with Ethan easily.
Salas is a really good defender, and he's got a chance to be elite defensively. The guy he reminds me of, you know, I might get some blowback on this, but the way—
I guarantee it.
From who?
From you guys, of course, but the way that he kind of hawks the ball and kind of peers at the defender, kind of looking at the ball, reminds me a lot of Gary Payton.
Okay.
That is just the mannerisms with which how he guards the ball.
We were having a good broadcast.
I've been saying that for a few weeks now. I don't know what your problem is, Richard. He's obviously hearing me telling somebody else. There's GP. That's the glove right there.
I mean, but look at the—
I'm in agreement with Dan Dicko.
When he's in a stance,
I'm on the record,
and he gets the offensive player to churn and change directions, he's baiting them into going that direction and then goes for a steal.
Captain Reed.
Wow. I'm a big believer in Salas. That's just a big comp right there.
I will give you credit where it's due. You had stock in Umar Ballo, and he has turned out to be a great player at Arizona.
I've made a fortune.
But that's sometimes, again, you just a situation fits you better, and that's been the case for Ballo.
Ben Gray, short, and the rebound by Athworth. Corner three on the way. That's short. And that's off of a zag. It belongs to the Mountaineers.
A simple move. Keeps that pivot foot down. And I think for Reed, sometimes defensively, he's got great size, length. He's got the ability to bother shots. Just fouls at too high a rate. I think sometimes trying to be too physical. And there offensively took his time and made a simple move.
Athworth to drive. Missed it long. Dom Harris in there with a rebound.
To stay on the thought on Reed, on the defensive end of the floor.
Oh, Dom Harris. What a dish.
Reed with another nice finish. You know, Reed's not like Greg where you can switch or hard hedge or double a ball screen even as he tries it there. You know, he needs to stay in the paint, protect the rim.
8:06 to play. Athworth three, long. And a foul on the floor. And I believe this is on Efton Reed. The largest victory of all time for Gonzaga, 61 points.
TU, Denver University?
They actually beat Eastern Oregon in 2001. It was the second largest margin of victory at 60 points.
What was 61?
Who was it, Brock? Who was 61?
Or DU?
It's coming. It's DU, Denver.
Yeah, I called that game. That was fun.
Because that was your hometown team?
No,
or?
it was I don't know.
Denver's much better at hockey, Richard.
Yes, they are. They are very good at hockey.
Hunter Salas. Here drop.
That was that Hachimura and Clark team, man. That was good.
Didn't they get off to like a 30-2 start that game, if I remember right?
My favorite part of that was I was talking with somebody on their staff before the game, and he asked me, so what do you think tonight? You think we got a chance? And it was like Tourette's. I just said no. And he was so offended. And then they lost by 61.
Malachi short on that step back.
It was not diplomatic at all with my answer.
You're so funny, Richard. Ethan Easley trying to get around Malachi Smith. Easley again, 4 on the shot clock. Trying to create space, got the shot away, but hit nothing. Timeout on the floor, 6:49 to play. Zags up 96-36, shooting 71% for the game. 6:49 to play in the final warm-up before the Zags enter West Coast Conference play. Efton Reed, gentlemen, off to a good start tonight.
It's been good to see. He's effectively been out of the rotation now for some time. Didn't play against Montana, but you kind of see what he can do. He's just a big body around the rim. He's explosive. When he takes his time, he's very effective. We saw that last year at LSU, 52% from the field. This year, 10 of 14 coming into tonight inside the arc. Been a nice boost for GU.
Here's the overall standings in the West Coast Conference right now. A lot of wins, and I know Dan is very high on the conference. They've had some quality wins. And when really you're talking about basketball this side of the Mississippi, it's hard to argue that the West Coast Conference isn't one of the better conferences.
Yeah, I think there's more depth at the top end in the Pac-12. When you think of UCLA, Arizona in particular. But, you know, up and down the conference, I mean, I'm not sure the bottom half of the Pac-12 is any better than the bottom half or the balance of our league in the WCC. Dan?
Malachi spin, missed it, tip back, drops. Dan?
Well, I think what you're always going to see is typically the depth of the Pac-12, yes, will be better. The top of the Pac-12 is very good this year, but I guess what I'm saying is the top of the WCC with Gonzaga is as good as anybody. And then that next tier continues to get better. The bottom teams of the WCC have gotten better than they have been the last 5, 6, 7 years. I think with Coach Steve Lavin going to San Diego, they've got a chance to show some improvement as well. I mean, they got a long ways to go, but you can't tell me he can't recruit. He did it at UCLA. He did it at St. John's.
Dom Harris, deep three. Ben Gregg, offensive rebound. Hunter slashing through.
You know, we talk about his jump shot having improved, and it certainly has, particularly, you know, how it looks. Even if it's not dropping to the level he'd like to see, his handle has also improved this year. I mean, Gonzaga will put him at the point in the pinch.
We don't have a number 4 on the roster, to be transparent here. I'm trying to listen to the PA announcer.
I think it's Mason Ainsworth.
Why do you think that?
He's on the stat sheet.
The computer one that we now get, but the pregame notes that
there's no
were handed did not.
Bay, Oregon, 6'1" freshman.
Richard Proud is a peacock right now.
Let me bask in it, guys. It doesn't happen very often.
Nice move.
But it's the position, it's where he got the ball.
And Reed 6 of 6 from the floor, 12 points, 1 rebound. Ben Gregg on the floor again. Kick by Hunter. Shot for 3 is off by Apworth. Reed controls it. Malachi into the lane. 4:30 to play. Zags 104. And although this has been obviously one of the more efficient offensive teams in America all year, they haven't been scoring like the teams over the last 4 years. That could be changing now, though, Dana.
Well, they've led the country in scoring the last 4 years. They've been top 5 in offensive efficiency the last 4 years. But they've also played more guard-centric at times. Yes, Timmy has been spectacular at scoring the ball the last 2 years. But this year, you will see they make an even more concerted effort to get him the ball on the low block. And sometimes, you know, it takes a couple extra seconds. So they're not playing with the tempo and the pace that they have done in years past, but they're still playing at a quick pace. Top 20 in the country, I believe, in tempo.
After the Reed, 2 more. Reed now 7 of 7.
That move works against everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
You just, that's what he needs to do.
You can't stop it.
Just get into that hook over that left shoulder.
Colby Brooks on the floor now for Gonzaga, the redshirt sophomore from Los Angeles, wearing number 25. There's a foul call on Hunter Salas, and now that is number 5 on Hunter. Efton Reed, 14 points, 7 of 7 from the floor, a couple of rebounds. And welcome back. About 4 minutes to play here between number 10 Gonzaga and Eastern Oregon. Greg Heister, Dan Dickow, and Richard Fox. Players of the game, gentlemen. And we can't just give it to one. We got to give it to the bench. 38 points tonight off the Gonzaga bench. And it's not tonight yet, today.
Everybody who's gotten minutes has contributed. 7 players now in double figures, but staying on the theme of the bench, yes, great production across the board. Malachi Smith with 10. Efton Reed with a Gonzaga high, career high for him in a Gonzaga uniform, 14 points. And I think that's great confidence builder for him as we move into WCC play.
Well, just really efficient, 18 to 25 from the field. And we've seen this. This is a story we've talked about in other games that we've called. Duck comes to mind right away. The Montana game, Ben Gray came off the bench, had a real impact. You want to see this depth. You've got this much talent. These guys get an opportunity. To your point, Greg, earlier, they've got to take advantage and they've got to produce. They've done that tonight. It's not going to be the last time this year when they're going to need a spark off that bench.
Dom Harris is pictured there. You know, we talked about him earlier, just kind of biding his time after battling injuries. I thought he's played well. 5 assists, about 11 minutes. A nice job of finding others making plays.
He's 1 of 2 from the floor with those 5 dimes and 2 rebounds. He's been really active.
And sometimes that's one of the hardest things is when you're not getting minutes, and maybe you think you should or you want to obviously get minutes, is you press to score. Everybody is wired to want to score.
Abe Eagle, number 30 on the floor for Gonzaga, redshirt sophomore from LA, 6'9", 225. The Eagle has landed, gentlemen. Efton Reed for 2 more.
It's a man amongst boys in there. Excuse me, let me get right here. I'm going to score another layup.
Now 8 of 8, 16 points. Dom Harris now with the block. Malachi Smith. He'll go alone. The reverse is short. Colby Brooks cleans it up.
I wonder if Brock is able to pull up Gonzaga's all-time field goal percentage record in a single game.
He probably has that top of mind.
I mean, he's sitting around 72%.
Setting the bar high
right
for
now.
Mr. Brock.
I'd expect that in the next 10 seconds.
He is the best, but I won't be shocked.
He's got it, actually. Look at him. He's writing it down.
He's writing it. He already has it. That's just. We got to find Brock a hobby.
And he's like, boom. There you go.
There you go. What was 71.8? Right? What game?
Oh, it's not good enough for Greg.
No.
He needs more details.
Brock's, the look on his face is keep my name out your mouth. I got this.
Against St. Mary's, they shot 71.8, gentlemen.
Wow.
Hey, Abe Eagles in the scorebook.
What year?
What year was that, Brock? And who was 70.8 while you're at it? So we'll clean all this mess up here in a moment. So in 1996, the Zag shot 71.8% from the floor against St. Mary's. Tonight, they're at 71.2 currently. Brooks rips down the rebound. And they once shot 70.8% against Washington State. Brock Salzman, the absolute best numbers guy in the business. Dom Harris from downtown.
I'm telling you, man, this kid can play.
And now they're at 72.1. This would be their best percentage ever. History could be made here tonight, gentlemen. Loose ball, Malachi Smith. Got Dom Harris on one wing. Here's a handoff, Colby Brooks. Colby to the rack. Missed it. No whistle. Minute 30 to play. Dom Harris with a defense. Efton Reed. Was that a block or a... Dom Harris, another 3. That's a little long. Eagle tipped it on a play to go to Eastern Oregon. Dom's a good shooter. I've seen that on display. Open look. He won't miss many of those. Now with 5 points, he's 2 of 4 in the game.
Well, limited minutes, obviously, he's freshman year, but shot 40% from 3.
Richard always backs my theories up with facts.
That's what good friends do.
They do. That's a deep three that's well short. 8 on the shot clock. Another one on the way. Malachi clears it under a minute to go between number 10 Gonzaga and Eastern Oregon. Zags now at 70% even. Malachi drives, skips to the corner. Colby Brooks three. Bang! Zags 9 of 18 from downtown today. Malachi, Colby Brooks, and the smash. (120-42), and a deep three on the way, and that'll do it. Dom Harris another rebound. 120-42, the largest margin of victory in program history. They end up shooting 70.8%, which ties the second best field goal percentage, which they shot against Washington State back in 2003. I think I called that game. Well, gentlemen, I think the coaching staff got out of this game what they were hoping to get out of it, right? Rhythm, feeling good as they head off now into West Coast Conference play.
You come back after Christmas break where you get an extended break to spend with family and friends. You hope that they come back ready to accept your message and then implement it on the floor. What I saw today looks like a team ready for league play.
Drew Timme led him with 18 points, 8 of 10 from the floor. We'll talk about all of that when we come back. Our final score, 120-42, but more to come.